Good morning, gamers. It is time to talk about the Half-Orc. Now, a couple videos ago in the Half-Elf video, I mentioned at length, I kind of rambled on a bit about my feelings about mixed heritage characters, where characters have a parent that was one species and they had a parent who was the other species. And so I don't necessarily want to repeat that stuff here just 2 videos later, just 2 days later. So if you want to hear my thoughts about that, just go back a couple videos. Today we're going to talk about half-orcs, though, and we'll mention orcs and stuff, and then probably later on when player character full-blooded orcs get their own video in this series, might have to repeat some of that information, but that might be a little bit. So we are currently going through the Old School Essentials Advanced Player's Guide in alphabetical order. We have, so today we're doing Half-Orc. Tomorrow we're doing the Illusionist. So tomorrow we'll get away for a little bit from character classes that are based on species or quote-unquote race, and get back to character classes that are based on your profession, that are based on what you do. So the orcs generally, again, like I've said many times, on most issues in our favorite game, there's room in these fantasy worlds to have your cake and eat it too. There's room to have multiple interpretations coexist without breaking things. And so there are many different writers that have done many different things with orcs. Everything, like on one end, there's the trope of just the big dumb orc. And on the other end, there is, I noticed in the late 80s, early 90s, particularly in Forgotten Realms novels and things, that orcs were getting portrayed kind of like Star Trek Klingons, kind of like the proud warrior race with deep traditions and a sense of honor based around combat. And there's everything in between. It's a fantasy game, so do what you want with your orc or half-orc or whatever. And there's even been, I've noticed the art has changed lately sometimes for orcs that, in the beginning, when orcs came from the mind of Tolkien, because as far as I can tell, in my little bit of nerd research here, unlike goblins or hobgoblins or ogres or trolls, which came from, cultural mythologies and superstitions and legends and things like that, the orc, as far as I can tell, and you can correct me in the comments down below, I don't mind. I like learning new stuff. But as far as I can tell, the orc came from Tolkien. And Mr. Welch, a fellow YouTuber here on fantasy and things related to our favorite game and such, he mentioned in a recent video, I'll put a link in the doodly-doo below so you can check it out for yourself, that apparently Tolkien came up with orcs by blending the name Orcus, an Etruscan god, with the Italian word for ogre and the Pict word for pig. So orcs are, as far as I know, they're fictional from Tolkien. I'm not aware that they come from any actual cultural legend or myth or anything like that. But there's all kinds of things that you can do with them. I mentioned in the last video on halflings that some of the most epic characters at our tables over the years have been halflings. And half-orcs obviously not quite as popular as halflings in terms of the choice for player characters of what to play. But the people that I've seen play half-orcs have played them long-term for many years and gone up many levels with them. So you can definitely have fun with the half-orc. And tomorrow we will get on with the Illusionist. So we've got links in the doodly-doo below to check out our Discord, say hi to us, play some games now. I have to get, I have to reach back to a person a few videos ago who asked about kobolds. Kobolds definitely belong in this series. And in case you haven't been able to tell, this is a very long series because this is going into everything that you can play in the LOFT project, all the old school OSR stuff that we're including. So kobolds are definitely there. I don't know when we'll get to a video because I want to cover the old school essentials stuff first because we're officially using old school essentials as our game engine. The Necrotic Gnome has said that they're going to include the LOFT project in their next email newsletter. So I definitely want to honor that. And for as much consistency and as least confusion as possible, I want to cover the official old school essentials stuff first before we get into other things. So We've got GM Academy down below where, DM coaches like me will call you on the phone or Discord and coach you through, your trials, struggles, celebrate your victories with you as a GM, becoming a better GM, stuff like that. We'll plug you into decades worth of skill of multiple coaches and teachers. And I will see you back here for The Illusionist tomorrow. In the meantime, I'll see you around the gaming table.